Hey, hello, and how are you? I'm Will Robinson Smith, your host of Old, New, and Now Playing, joining you for another trailer reaction this week. And we've got an interesting one on the table today. We're talking about the Will Smith-led movie Gemini Man, which, as you can see from the poster, has kind of a cool vibe to it. You've got an older Will Smith juxtaposed against a younger Will Smith with the tagline, "Who will save you from yourself?" And so right off the bat, you've got that dynamic of, duality, obviously, with the title. Gemini meaning, twin, the constellations. I myself am actually a Gemini, and my name is Will Robinson Smith, so I feel like this movie is really made for me and me alone. Kidding, kind of not. Anyway, so you've got Will Smith in front of the camera alongside Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Clive Owen. But in the director's chair, which I think is also interesting, is Ang Lee is behind this one. And if you don't recall Ang Lee right off the bat, he's the Academy Award-winning director behind Life of Pi and Brokeback Mountain, which he won awards for, and he was nominated for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And so you've got, kind of a cool visual element that, Ang Lee is, I'm sure, going to bring to this movie. And then you've got, some interesting writers on this project as well. I mean, I think there were like 5 or 6 that I'm seeing that have their names attached to this one. But 2 I want to bring up to you specifically. One is Christopher Wilkinson, who was one of the writers of Ali back in 2001, for which Will Smith was nominated for Best Actor, did not win that year. But so you've got a writer who's very familiar with Will Smith and, kind of knows his voice and knows how to write for him in a way that clearly marries well in a performance and translates well onto the screen. Then you also have someone who is very much in the lexicon right now, talking about all you Game of Thrones fans out there. David Benioff, that's it. One of the creators of Game of Thrones is also a writer on this movie, Gemini Man. So, I don't know exactly what that's going to mean as far as storytelling, but I mean, clearly, Benioff, one half of Benioff, and I believe it's D.B. Weiss, the creators of the television HBO version of Game of Thrones. So you've got you've got a guy that can really handle a very dynamic, complex story, paired with someone who knows Will Smith very well, along with, as I mentioned, like several other people who have their names attached to this movie. So with also some interesting credits to their name, but we're not going to get bogged down in that right now. But just wanted to throw those things out to you as we watch this trailer together. Just kind of some things to bear in mind as to what we might get from this. So without further ado, it's about 2 minutes. Let's look at the official trailer for Gemini Man.
Tell me something. Why is it so hard for you to kill this man?
He knew every move of mine before I made it. I'd have him right there. Take the shot. And he'd be gone, like a ghost.
It's pretty much like Independence Day was meant. That's cool.
Who is he?
I think I know why he's as good as you. He is you.
Oh, better than one.
25 years ago, they made you from me. They chose me because there's never been anybody like me. We have to end this right now. You have all of his gifts without his pain. You made a person out of another person. Then you sent me to kill him. You made a choice to do this to me.
This thing that you're struggling with, it's fear. Embrace it and then overcome it.
Of all the people in the world to come after me, why would he send you?
That's a fair question. Because he knows how, I guess. Interesting. Okay. So it's going to come out in mid-October. We see there, October 11th. So we don't have too much longer to wait. We have one Aladdin to get through, though, first. So it's going to be an interesting year for Will Smith. I'll be curious to see whether the reception of Will Smith as the genie has any bearing on it. People are really excited to have another Will Smith property in Gemini Man that's like completely Will Smith centric, or sort of how that will go. But that aside, let's just talk about the trailer itself. I really like kind of the visual aesthetic of this world that they're creating here. And just briefly, we didn't get to see much of Benedict Wong, but I like that Benedict Wong is in here. I want to know him more as an actor and see him in more things besides just the little bit that I saw of him in, Doctor Strange and Avengers, Infinity War, and I'm assuming Avengers Endgame. Depending on when you're watching this trailer reaction, I might have already seen it or not. If it's early in the week, I have not. If it's after Thursday, I've seen it at least twice. So, excited to see him again in that. But that aside, I like the little bit of Benedict Wong that I've seen. Want to see more. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table here. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the premise of like Looper. Just the sense of a younger person and a younger version of yourself going up against the older version of yourself, and like it's a necessity to be your own executioner. I'm and maybe I just kind of missed it here, but I was trying to figure out is this like truly a younger, like a version of himself that went back and like jumped, like did a time jump to kill his older self, or is this like he took the old version of himself and so I feel like I almost need to watch this again just to make sure I've straightened out all the ins and outs of like how the older and younger version of them work. So I apologize that was not immediately clear to me. If you got that sense right off the bat, congrats. Jump in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts about how all of that works. But I thought the effects, like just visually, how they were able to de-age Will Smith, I thought that looked really clean. Like I said when I was watching it, it reminded me, of basically Independence Day youth Will Smith, which is cool to see. I don't know that he'll necessarily be like that quippy with a younger Will Smith. If you have sort of like the attitude of a younger Will Smith, really with the attitude of older Will Smith, or if it will be more based on sort of what the character actually is like and not so much the quippy Will Smith in real life. I'm guessing it's probably going to be more along those lines. But, for first trailer, I think this looks really promising. I like the vibe of what they're going for. I like the premise of the movie. I think some of the lines of dialogue were a little cheesy, but, I think Clive Owen, is going to be a good foil to Will Smith. I think that dynamic is going to work really well here. So yeah, probably going to see another couple of trailers before this thing comes out, but first impression, I think it looks pretty cool. I'm on board and I'm excited to go see it. Not like super hyped for it, but it definitely piqued my interest, and I think all the elements that we talked about before the trailer really lend to that, to see what they're going to bring to the full movie. So those are my thoughts on the first trailer, the first official trailer for Gemini Man. Now it's your turn. Jump in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited to see another Will Smith movie? Is this something that interests you? Is it something that's not? Are you just excited to see Aladdin, or like me, do you just have Avengers Endgame on the brain and you can't really think about anything else coherently? Let me know your thoughts, and I hope you have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing. Be sure to be good to yourself and be good to others, because that's just the kindness that makes this world go round. So with that, I leave you, and as always, I will see you next time.